Welcome to episode 2 of this series on infinite Archimedean polyhedra, in which I'm investigating the infinite equivalence of the 13 Archimedean solids. In this video, I'll explore how we can apply the snub operation to create more of these fascinating structures. You can create a type of snub polyhedron by twisting the faces of a Mucube. This is known as a semi-snub operation. I'll show the process on a small section of a Mucube, concentrating on the vertex in the middle. As the squares rotate, a small triangle appears at the vertex, and triangular slivers open up between the faces. When the rotation reaches 45 degrees, all the slivers become equilateral, and we arrive at the Semi-Snub Mucube, another infinite Archimedean polyhedron. Here's the process again on a larger section of Mucube, with the squares rotating in alternating directions. I've shown the vertex figure at the top left for clarity. This structure has corridors in the same directions as the Mucube, but of a more complex nature, with triangles at exotic angles. The same semi-snub process can be applied to the mu octahedron. As the hexagons rotate, new triangular faces open up and become equilateral, yielding the semi-snub muoctahedron. This strange shape has tunnels that are low and broad, while the corridors left and right are high and narrow, so it exhibits a form of pyritahedral symmetry. I've been unable to find any reference to this specific shape in the literature, so it's possible we're seeing it here for the first time. I'd be particularly interested to hear from anyone who may have encountered this structure before. The conventional snub cube can be derived from the rhombicube octahedron through a twisting or snubbing operation. Let's try a similar operation on the mu rhombicube octahedron. As the hexagons and red squares twist, the connecting rhombic yellow squares fold into two triangles. We arrive at something remarkably close to a mu snub cube. However, as you can see, the red main squares have become skewed. The geometry has failed us. It appears to be geometrically impossible to create a mu snub cube through this specific method. However, there is a polyhedron that shares this exact vertex configuration, the figure you see here. This is the mu snub cube. Regrettably, this structure features flat edges between the triangles and the hexagons. This means it doesn't quite qualify under the strict criteria I have set for this series. Yet it remains a fascinating near miss in our search for infinite forms. There is a different method for creating infinite snubs. If one places two identical snub cubes side by side, resting on their square faces, they fail to align because the squares are slightly rotated. However, a left-handed and a right-handed version match perfectly. By repeating this alternating pattern, an entire stack of snub cubes can be constructed. Once the squares are removed, we're left with another infinite Archimedean polyhedron, featuring 8 triangles at each vertex. I shall call this the repeated snub cube, though in truth mu snub cube would have been a more fitting name had it not already been claimed. This structure is unusual in that every face is a triangle, making it an infinite deltahedron. These triangles fall into two categories: the snub triangles bordering the square apertures, and the octahedral triangles, which are entirely surrounded by their snub counterparts. Travelling into one of the snub cubes leads to a series of snub cubic chambers, joined by square portals at jaunty angles, but the space between the snub cubes is different, with diamond-shaped portals in alternating orientations. Having constructed the repeated snub cube, we can apply the separation operation. By pulling the individual snub cubes apart and filling the gaps with corridors, we create a separated repeated snub cube, featuring 4 triangles and 2 squares at each vertex. The journey inside reveals the somewhat crooked-looking corridors that separate the chambers. Finally, we encounter an even more exotic type of separated repeated snub cube. Note that 8 of the triangles on a snub cube correspond to the faces of an octahedron. These are coloured green here. The remaining triangles are the snub faces. By building a stack of snub cubes with these green faces touching, and then separating them slightly, we can insert octahedra to join the octahedral faces. Once the octahedral triangles are removed, we are left with yet another variation, the octahedrally-separated repeated snub cube, a remarkably elegant structure. That's all for this video. I'll be exploring more infinite Archimedean polyhedra in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.